Well, today I got eight scouting cameras out, two of which are cell phone cameras. The other six are cameras that are set on photo, then a 20-second video on a 3-minute delay. Welcome to North Dakota. I'm excited to be in a spot that I've hunted many times here, public land in North Dakota, but I haven't hunted for quite a few years. I think maybe 2011 was the last time I hunted out in this specific area of North Dakota, so I'm excited to be back here. I just got here, boots on the ground. I'm doing some scouting. I'm going to be putting some trail cameras out here and seeing what I get on trail camera over the next 3-4 days. It's the end of September, and I'm planning to be here the end of October to hunt for about a week or so. But I'm here mainly to scout and to put out some cameras and check them and so forth, and just kind of see what I get over the next few days and kind of gauge what's here for bucks and does and so forth. And it's changed a lot. To the north of me here, last time I was here, the Army Corps of Engineers was putting food plots in here. Now it's just a fallow field full of foxtail. And the good news is I'm back in here quite a ways. I don't know, I'm over a mile back in here, and I haven't seen any sign of other hunters, but there's very little deer sign too, and I think that's because there's not much food back in here. But super windy, and that's why I kind of pulled in back behind this hedgerow here, so you know, the wind wouldn't mess with the camera here. But it's supposed to be even windier tomorrow. Tomorrow's supposed to be 25 sustained with gusts to 40. And so, you know, I'm just going to spend the next day and a half, you know, or half day today, half day tomorrow, getting trail cameras set out, and then I'll check them 2 or 3 times before I grab them and head home. And now it's starting to rain too. Better get this camera under wraps. But I'm going to do some vlogs here. I'll show you some trail camera pictures, hopefully of some nice bucks, and then I'll pick this blog back up in the end of October when I come out here to actually hunt. Now, I did bring 2 stands and a ground blind just in case I see something on the cameras over the next couple days here that makes me think, boy, I better just hunt. And so I've got a 4 days window here that I've got time to do this. I do got a buddy that lives only 30 minutes from here who is interested in taking me salmon fishing, so I'll probably do that too. But anyway, let's start getting some of these cameras out, and I'll kind of walk you through what I'm doing here. I'm hunting a combination of federal, state, and plots land. Now, North Dakota has a program called Private Land Open to Sportsmen, where the landowners can sign their land and it's free for people to use for hunting. And North Dakota also has a really interesting situation regarding trespassing. It's not the only state that has this, but it's not common, and that is you can hunt wherever you want as long as it's not posted. So if the land is posted, then you're trespassing. If it's not posted, then you're not. So let's get to work. All right, I stumbled into some good bedding covered here. I'm finding quite a few beds, and I just kind of walked right up on it, which is okay because I'm not going to be hunting here for another month. But it is the first area that I found out here. I've put on a few miles of walking and also riding the bike, and this is the first area that I found that has some sign of good buck sign. There's a few droppings. They're not really fresh. There's not a lot of fresh trails. It's actually pretty disappointing, the amount of sign that I'm finding that's fresh, but we don't need to find a whole bunch of deer. We just need to find the right one. So anyway, I'm going to mark this on my GPS and keep moving. Well, the first property that I went to was kind of disappointing. I didn't see much fresh deer sign, but this is the 4th property now that I've scouted. I'm kind of way out here, but if you can see down in the river bottom here, some pretty good bedding area down there. And then across this field, there's a cornfield right there. I found a couple other cornfields on public property that are getting hit pretty hard, but there's still a lot of corn in the fields. I mean, there's kind of there's just corn kind of everywhere right now. They're getting most of the soybeans out, but there's still a lot of corn. So that's going to change a lot a month from now. But I like the idea. There's this good looking bedding cover down here. We got the cornfield out there. So I'm going to work my way through here now and try to find a place to hang a couple trail cameras, get some intel on what kind of bucks might be in this area. So looking, you know, I'm fairly optimistic after the first day of scouting. Well, day 2 here. It's windy even by North Dakota standards today. And in North Dakota, you know, if the wind ever stopped all at once, all the cows would tip over. So it's windy in North Dakota. But I just put a camera out in this public hunting area right here. I'm on a road that goes between the public hunting area and private crop fields of corn. I just grabbed a camera and walked in there because I found a trail that leads out from this public hunting area into the corn, and I wanted to throw a camera up on it real quick. I wish I would have taken the video camera with me because I jumped a buck and he was in these junipers, and then I found several well-used buck beds back in there. So I just took a picture of one of them with my phone camera, and then the cell phone camera up on a scrape that I found right by one of the beds. So anyway, yeah, we still got more work to do here, but this is pretty typical of North Dakota public hunting land. So let's get some more cameras out. In addition to scouting by putting trail cameras out, I'm always, of course, looking for places where I can kind of get up and see a lot of area. And there's a public hunting area out here. I'll zoom in on it. And there's some wheat planted out there, and there's pretty big cornfield planted out there. It looks to me like it's probably around 15 to 20 acres, which is a pretty good sized food plot for a public hunting area. And so this is the kind of a spot where I would be thinking be a great place to check out in the evening with the spotting scope. I should mention, I just told you a minute ago about the buck I kicked up, and you probably think, well, how big was it? Well, I don't know how big it was because I didn't see its rack, but it was in a thick bundle of junipers, and I just saw it get out of its bed and sneak away with its head down and its tail down, and that's what a buck does. They don't just bound off and flag and snort and everything like that. These bigger bucks typically just try to sneak the heck out of there before anybody sees them, and that's what happened there. So that's why I know that it was probably a shooter buck. I did see a pretty nice 8-pointer across the road in front of me this morning, right at daylight when I was headed down to Jeremy's. Spent the majority of the day today putting new brakes on my truck. The brake pad came loose and was rolling around in behind the rotor and screeching and grinding and everything like that, so I had to limp my truck down 30 miles to where my buddy lives, and he's got a shop and all the tools, so he did most of the work. But we put brand new brakes on my truck. I had to drive to Bismarck to get a new caliper, but anyway, I got brakes now. Yeah, I just walked all the way around that cornfield, found some good trails, did find one scrape where I put a camera on that scrape. I also put a camera on one of the main trails that's leading from what looks to be a bedding area back in here and into the corn. I did find 2 tree stands, so there's a sign that other people are hunting out here. But so anyway, I got 8 cameras out. Man, I put a lot of miles on, and I just feel pretty good about really understanding how the deer are feeding. And I like the fact that there's so much corn all over the place, but it's all going to be harvested except what's on these public hunting properties. So when I get back here, this might really be magnet for the deer. Well, I'm back home getting caught up on magazine articles here for the next 3 weeks, and also I gotta take the time to fill a doe tag on my food plot here behind me. I'm going to show you some of the trail camera pictures that I got from North Dakota, and I'll be going back there the end of October to hunt for about a week before the rifle season opens there. And I'm going to answer a question that I know that's going to be asked about this trip, and that question is, why would you go out there for 3.5 days and not even hunt? And that's a great question, but there's three parts to that. And as I show you these pictures, I'm just going to roll the pictures here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what the purpose of this trip was and why I did it the way I did it. First of all, there are three answers to the question, two of which are practical answers, and the third one is more, I guess, maybe aesthetic is the word for it. So first of all, here's what's important to me after doing these bow hunting road trips for 30 years. I have learned that it's really, really important not to get in a tree stand too soon for two reasons. Number one, I really want to have a feel for how the deer are using the properties that I'm hunting. I want to know where they're bedding and where they're feeding. I want to know how they're using the terrain and where the trails and what the stage of the rut is and those types of things. It's just really, really critical for me to be able to, when I finally get in a tree stand, I want to know that I'm in the right spot, and I want to have confidence that I can sit there for long hours and not be wondering what's going on over the next ridge or whatever. And the only way to do that is by getting lots of trail camera photos and putting lots of boots on the ground and really scouting it out, so you got a really good feel for how you should be hunting these specific properties. Okay. The second part of that is that at some point on any of these bow hunting road trips, you're going to have a buck walk by you and you're going to go, boy, I don't know if I should shoot that buck or not. Well, the only way to know what's available to you is inventory the deer, and you do that with trail cameras and with scouting, getting up on the hills in the evenings and glassing mornings and evenings and so forth, and kind of get a feel for what's going to be available. I always think it's funny when I hear people say, well, I'm going on this trip to so-and-so and I'm not going to shoot anything less than a 3-year-old 130-inch buck. Well, until you get there and really start figuring out what's available, you don't know if your chances of shooting a 130-inch 3-year-old buck are high or zero. So in those decisions that you got to make on the spur of the moment, if I should shoot that deer or not, you got to have a lot of information. So I want to know what's available and what the odds are, and if a buck walks by, it could be saying, well, I don't know if I should shoot that deer. But if you have a lot of information, you got a lot of trail camera pictures, and you spend a lot of time scouting, then you know when you look at that deer, either that might be the biggest buck I see this week, or no, I think I can do better. So those are the two practical aspects of it. And the third one is simply the fact that as I've done this over and over and gotten older, I just tend to really enjoy the process more. When I was younger, I just couldn't wait to get out there and scout and find the scrapes and rubs and get in a tree stand and all that. And as I've gotten older, I just kind of want to slow down and just enjoy the whole process. And it's not so much about killing the deer as it is the overall hunt for me at this point in my life. And so I really like the trail camera pictures. I like just seeing the deer. I like taking my time to really choose the spots, and you know, this was kind of a vacation for me where I spent some time fishing, and I just really relaxed and enjoyed it. You know, if there was something that made me think I better get out there right now, then I would have hung a stand or put up a ground blind and hunted. But you know, I didn't really see that. As you can see here, there's quite a few nice pictures of good bucks, and it was almost all nocturnal. All the bucks pretty much were nocturnal, but that'll all be changing here in about 3.5 weeks when I head back out there. So thanks for watching this with me, and it should be exciting. I can't wait to get back out there, and now that I feel really confident in what's available there and understanding the patterns a lot better, you know, I feel like I have a better chance of shooting a nice buck while I'm there. But it's hunting. So we'll talk to you on the next video.